Golf Central on YouTube, brought to you by Apex Irons from Callaway.
I'm Shane Bacon, and this is your Golf Central update. The PGA Tour in Detroit this week for the Rocket Mortgage Classic. With more, here's George Savarikas.
Well, Shane, another step towards some normalcy here on the PGA Tour. I remember my first event back, the Travelers Championship summer of 2020, after the PGA Tour resumed play. The COVID testing protocol they had in place then, the evolution that we've seen over the last 12 months to get to what we saw released on Monday to the players, and that was that COVID testing will stop not only for vaccinated players, but unvaccinated players at the 3M Open. Only a player showing symptoms will be tested at that point. Definitely the talk of the range here at the Rocket Mortgage Classic in Detroit. Here's the reaction of some of the players in the field.
It's been a long year and a half, I think. We've kind of gotten used to the testing, to be honest. And, I got the vaccine, X amount of months ago. So, kind of got me out of the testing. But a lot of guys obviously chose otherwise and stayed testing. So I don't know. I mean, it seems like there's no playbook for this, what the whole world's been through, really. And, it seems like we have enough of an uptake of the vaccines amongst players and caddies and officials, and numbers are looking better. So, I mean, listen, hopefully it's the right call. We can all, move on. Hopefully it's just a step forward for everybody. I mean, I think everybody wants life to get back to, normal, and whatever that looks like. Hopefully it looks like it did last March 11th.
When I read it at first, I wasn't sure if I had read it correctly or not. I'm not surprised they're going to stop testing, but originally I thought if you weren't vaccinated, you were still going to have to test kind of off-site. But if I understand correctly, that's not the case anymore, which I'm a little surprised with. But at the same time, we got to move on eventually.
I think it's going to be nice. I think, we've been really safe, and obviously a lot of guys have gotten vaccinated, a lot of caddies. So I think that's really good, and, we're able to keep our space out here and in the locker room. So I think, I think it's a good idea.
I'm happy about it. We've got a vaccination rate out here high enough where they classify it as reaching herd immunity. So I think it's a good thing. We've been out here long enough. We've done very well, I think, as a tour. Jay's done a great job in getting everything handled and set up, and I think it's a good time.
I don't know much about what other guys have said, but obviously that situation with John was pretty unfortunate, and I don't know. I think things seem to be moving on in the right direction here in the U.S. They seem to have the virus under control in most areas, and 150 million people vaccinated by now. I think that's a pretty good sign that we're beyond the worst of it. Obviously, we consulted with the professionals, and they gave their opinion, and I think it's good that the tour is trusting those professionals. So that's the key, I guess, just letting the doctors and the smart scientists figure stuff out and advise us, and we'll just follow on that.
In speaking with the PGA Tour, the fully vaccinated percentage now exceeds 80% compared to what we saw at the Memorial earlier this month, where it's just above 50%. But it's not like there's been this huge uptick on account of what transpired with Jon Rahm from 50 to 80%. To explain that increase, a lot of it also has to do with the fact a number of players had received the first dose of their vaccination and were waiting on their second to then be considered fully vaccinated key constituents. If the Jon Rahm scenario were replicated at the 3M Open, then what would occur? Well, if you take a look at it, Jon Rahm was unvaccinated, would be subjected to contact tracing going forward, and then ultimately would be forced to withdraw if he was a positive and an unvaccinated player. Overall, the PGA Tour happy, though, with how those vaccination rates have progressed thus far.
Thanks, George. Meanwhile, last week's tour winner was Harris English at the Travelers Championship. He joined 5 other players as multi-winners on tour this season. He also joined Damon Hack and me on Golf Today. Harris, what were you thinking as you guys kept making par after par after par? Was it almost humorous to watch this playoff as you were participating in it?
It was, for sure. I gave Kramer a couple opportunities to close the door, and he gave me a couple opportunities to close the door, and we couldn't do it. And it's one of those, 17 and 18 were not that easy to birdie. They were both downwind. 17, you had to land the ball just short of the slope and skip it up. 18 was just a hard pin to get to. So it's one of those where we're not playing the best of golf, but we're grinding it out and not really giving each other anything. We're making those 6 and 7 footers, and and we're not quitting. So finally on the 8th hole, I mean, I had let one slip. I think a hole or two before on 18, I thought I was going to close it out with that 8-foot, 10-foot putt. I don't know what it was, but finally got one to go.
You had the stamina to get it done. You know, when I spoke to your coach, Justin Parsons, after Maui and your victory, he said part of your focus was about getting into a rhythm on the course, smacking that gum, presenting yourself as a panther ready to pounce. How much of your great play of late is a change of attitude inside the ropes? Yeah, I mean, I feel like I belong now, and I love playing in those big moments like that. I love getting myself in contention. That's really the goal every week is having a chance to win with 9 holes to play. That's what I tell myself every week, and have really had that the last 3 weeks. And I equate that to some very successful weeks, and just been putting a lot of hard work here at Sea Island in my off weeks. I don't really take a whole lot of days off. I still continue to train, still continue to work with Justin, and put the time in because I don't think my work is finished. I still want to accomplish a lot more things this year, and I still have that in front of me. I'm just getting closer and closer.
Now, you somehow didn't mention the Ryder Cup, which I'm very impressed by. But considering where you sit now on the Ryder Cup standings after the victory, do you change or adjust your schedule for the remainder of the season to give yourself the best opportunity possible to make the team?
Yeah, you know, that's an interesting question. I mean, I've kind of had my schedule set for a little while. It's nice to be in all the World Golf Championships and all the majors, and I'm still got to gear up for the playoffs, and I'm in a good spot. I'm number 2 on the FedEx right now, which is probably my highest ever at this point in the season, and I'm looking forward to playing in those playoff events. It's huge for me. Another goal of mine every year is to make it to the Tour Championship. I feel like I've locked that up right now, but to have a chance of winning the Tour Championship is amazing. So I think my goal is to do that right now, and whatever happens. I know I still need to keep playing some good golf and keep showing Captain Stricker that I'm worthy of making the team.
Well, one thing you said in the gloaming in Cromwell was how much you've missed being on a team, dating back to your days at Georgia as a member of the Walker Cup. What would you bring to a U.S. Ryder Cup team room?
Yeah, I feel like I get along with everybody. I love playing with all those guys, and I feel like I'd be a great teammate. I can get fired up. I'm going to be intense and just revel in the moment. That's what I enjoyed a lot at the University of Georgia is we had a very close-knit team. We enjoyed playing golf with each other and rooting for each other, and I feel like I can bring that to a USA team. I feel like I get along with everybody, and I feel like I'd just be a great addition to the room.
Harris, going back to the Travelers for a bit, it was a great moment on social media. That's rare to say, by the way. You don't get that much anymore. As the playoff was going on, people were suggesting maybe you guys go away from golf and take on something else to decide the victor. So I'm gonna present you with some options, and let's see if you think it would have been you or Kramer that would have won it. I want to start with arm wrestling. Do you feel like you would have had the upper hand or Kramer?
That would have been tough. I feel like I have a lot longer arm than Kramer, so he might have the upper hand in that arm wrestling contest.
Long arms.
What about bags cornhole? Do you feel like it would have been you that would have been the favorite?
Cornhole, I'm pretty good at. Depends on what time in the evening. After a couple beers, I usually get a little better. But yeah, I think I would have been pretty good at cornhole.
Yeah,